Hello everybody, welcome to Gavin McCormack here, and today we're in the Colo River in the Deep Blue Mountains in New South Wales. And as you can see behind me, there is a tree, but not just any tree. You see, within forests we have societies, we have communities.
And if you're not looking carefully, these communities within forests can be very hard to find. You may have walked through a forest and looked at the trees and thought that nothing was really happening. They were just standing there, tall and looking beautiful. Well, think again. Trees are very, very busy and extremely important. The first thing to note is that they breathe, because they are living things. They breathe just like me and you. But instead of breathing in oxygen, they actually breathe in carbon dioxide, which is extremely poisonous to human beings, and we produce lots of it. Not only from the breath of billions of people, but also from pollution caused by cars, motorbikes, aeroplanes, and factories. So we need trees to help keep the world balanced and cool, and to reduce the greenhouse gases that cause global warming. But what happens when many trees come together? Can they actually communicate? Well, for many, many years, human beings thought that we were the only people who could communicate. And then, through history, we discovered that also animals had the power to communicate. But recently, research has shown us that trees can actually talk to each other.
This is what we call a mother tree.
Now you may ask the question, what is a mother tree and how can I find one in my local forest? Well, a mother tree is usually the biggest and the oldest tree in the forest. They are the glue that holds the forest together. They have the genes and the history from previous climates and a long time ago. And they are the homes to so many creatures. They can hold up to 30,000 organisms living inside them. And what's special about a mother tree? Well, they have 4 special characteristics. And if you want to try to find one in your local forest, here are the things you may be looking for. Mother trees are usually the tallest and the widest tree around. They have the most branches. They can even have a few trunks. And they grow new leaves very, very quickly, and they're usually very, very big in size.
But what you can see right behind me on this tree here is fungus or fungi, or you may know them as mushrooms. Now, the first thing to say is do not touch and do not eat. These can be highly toxic, but actually they are the forest's best friend.
You see, trees may seem like the strong, silent type, but trees actually communicate with each other. If you're a mother and you have children, well, you recognize your children and you treat them in a certain way. And we're starting to find out that trees do the same thing. We found that trees, the biggest and the oldest in the forest, had more connections with other trees in and around the same location. So, when a seedling from one tree falls onto the ground, other trees will then take care of it by funneling resources. But how do they get the resources to each other and new seeds? Well, fungal networks are the answer. In an experiment published in 1997, we found out that water was moving between trees as they shared it, as the drought took hold of the forest region. And this shows us that trees act as a community. They take care of their neighbors, and they also take care of their young, just as human beings do.
Right now, we are in summer and autumn is fast approaching. Now, the leaves on these trees around me will soon turn to a beautiful orange and yellow tone. And what will happen is the tree will start to send the nutrients from the leaves down the trunk and into the roots. And even some trees have been known to send those nutrients to other trees within the forest who need help. Now, how do they do that? Well, their best friend right here, fungus, helps them along the way. You see, as the nutrients come down the tree trunk here, the fungus is waiting to feed off of it. But it doesn't just take the nutrients, it actually helps the tree. You see, what happens is this tree here, via these wonderful roots in the ground, needs to communicate with other trees in the forest, and they will use the fungi here to help send messages and help distribute those important informations around the forest.
Now, even though we respect and we know that trees are so important, there are still many things happening which are destroying our forests. About 200 years ago, 14% of the Earth's land was covered by forests, and today it is down to around about 6%. The loss of these forests is known as deforestation, and as the population of the world grows and the demand for wood and land increases, this is something which is extremely concerning. But it's not only deforestation which is the cause of threat to our trees. You see, there are many other dangers which face the trees of this world. There's also fires. Fires rage around the world on a yearly basis, burning down hundreds and thousands of hectares of forests. There are also diseases which can infect the forest, and there's animal damage. But one of the most interesting things comes from nature, and that is the threat from insects. Now, when a danger like this arises, you may think that the tree is defenseless, but think again, because the tree can send messages to other trees in the forest, warning them that there is a plague of insects on the way causing damage.
If this forest was under attack, or this tree in particular, by a plague of locusts, then some trees have been known to send messages to other trees within the forest via the fungus here to warn them to get ready because there is a locust attack on the way. So if you ever thought that forests are just a bunch of plants growing away nicely, think again. This is a community, this is a civilization, and under the ground, within this soil right here, there is a bunch of telecommunication channels where the forests and the trees are communicating with each other. See you next week.